call this meeting to order. As you can tell, I'm very excited about this. I am calling the meeting of the May 11th, 2021 Ad Hoc Fine Arts Committee to order. Let's see, do we have a physical quorum? No, okay. A physical quorum of the members is not present. However, pursuant to Section 70 of the Open Meetings Act, members are permitted to attend remotely, even while sitting in traffic. Either one member of the committee, the chief administrative officer, or a chief legal counsel are physically present at the regular meeting location. In-person attendance and public comments are allowed, subject to attendance limitations required to ensure the health and safety of those who attend. Pursuant to the Illinois Attorney General's guidance to public bodies on the Open Meetings Act during the COVID-19 pandemic, dated July 2nd, 2020, county board members may participate without being physically present in compliance with the established provisions. Roll call, please, Teresa.
Member Desart?
Here.
Member Garcia?
Here.
Member Hart?
Here.
Chair LaPlante?
Here.
Vice Chair Rutledge?
Here.
Member Selman?
Not here today. And there is no public comment, I'm assuming, unless there's a time traveler. Okay, wonderful. So moving on to Chairman's remarks, I would like to just welcome everyone to the inaugural Ad Hoc Fine Arts Committee meeting. I am beyond thrilled to be here discussing the arts in DuPage County with all of you. We have a committee full of high-octane heavy hitters, so please take a moment to look around this room and your Zoom screen and see that you are in the esteemed company of movers and shakers. So everyone, just take this in. This is amazing. My vision for this committee is for a collaborative, creative, and highly impactful team effort towards reaching our full potential in terms of fine arts and a vibrant cultural environment in DuPage County. The possibilities are limitless for what we can accomplish together. We have the ability, and now we have the opportunity. So let's get started. I would like to introduce the committee members and our advisors. The county board members that are the elected officials sitting on this committee in order of district. We have from District 1, member Ashley Selman, who is unable to be here today, but is involved. District 2 is member Paula Deegan Garcia. District 3, member Greg Hart. District 4 is me, I'm serving as chair. District 5, member Dawn Desart. District 6, member Sheila Rutledge, who is vice chair. I would like to thank my board colleagues. I know how busy we all are and how much committee work we already have. Thank you for agreeing to sit on another committee. I really appreciate you. And now our advisory panel in alphabetical order. We have Greg Bedeloff, Choose DuPage. He's the president and CEO. We have Mr. Orbert Davis, the director of the Chicago Jazz Philharmonic and also the host of The Real Deal on WDCB. And that is him on that poster in the back because he is one of our vaccine heroes here in DuPage County. He did a wonderful PSA. We have Terry Juris, the president of the Chicago Federation of Musicians. Beth Marchetti from the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau. And she is the president, the executive director of that. Jim McGuire, the executive manager of the DuPage County Fairgrounds. Barb, let me make sure I get this right, Sapaniak, the DuPage Foundation vice president for programs. And Debbie Venezia, Arts DuPage, the director. Wonderful, welcome everyone. And we are being staffed by Teresa Glatzhofer, who has been a huge help in getting our committee up and running. And a special thanks also go to our chairman, Dan Cronin, who has been wonderfully supportive of this initiative. Also to Nick Kottmeyer, the chief administrative officer, and Cheryl Marquet, our chief policy and program officer. They've been wonderfully helpful throughout this whole process. Now, here we go to a roundtable discussion. So let's talk about the goals of this committee. The purpose of this committee is to promote cultural enrichment for the residents of DuPage County by highlighting access to high-quality artistic experiences. This Fine Arts Committee will help widen arts appreciation and engagement, enhance tourism, and promote the economic benefits having a vibrant cultural environment can provide. This committee will act as the liaison between the county board and local cultural and artistic groups. These groups will also provide valuable input and guidance to the committee and perform such duties as required in concert with the county board. This Fine Arts Committee recognizes the vital role the arts can play in terms of COVID recovery and economic development within our community. So let's discuss our current state of affairs of the arts in DuPage County. I invite each one of you to please give a short story or pitch or what you notice is missing, what you would like to see, or any ideas of what you would like to see happen in DuPage County. I'm going to start with our board members. Member Paula Deegan Garcia.
Thanks, Lynn. I'm very excited about having all of the arts come to DuPage County to enhance the tourism. I know I have my Frida tickets. I've had them for, a couple of years, and I'm just waiting to go now. So I'm looking more for events like that to where, I went to the Van Gogh in Chicago, but I want things like that to come to DuPage, to bring people to DuPage. So I'm very excited about that. In a former life, I actually used to be the arts director for the home and school organization. I used to find the fine arts to go to the schools. So I'm passionate about also bringing fine arts to the schools. So I'm hoping I'm not freezing. All of a sudden I'm looking, I'm freezing.
No, that's wonderful.
Okay, good. So those are two of my whole passionate things to come, to bring art things and musical things here for tourism, and then also to bring things to the schools.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Member Hart.
Thank you, Lynn. And Lynn, just wanted to thank you for your leadership in getting this committee established. I think it's incredibly important. I have a couple interests as it relates to the arts, and one of them is what member Deegan Garcia just touched on, which is its connection to economic development. And I think Frida Kahlo is a prime example of that. I've been eagerly awaiting the opportunity to attend that exhibit. I'm looking forward to that in June. And I agree that any opportunity we have to get an attraction like Frida, or it doesn't have to be at that level. I know that's starting pretty high, but any types of attractions that are going to be drawing individuals and tourists out from the city to DuPage is something that I would support. So interested to hear the group's thoughts on that and opportunities to identify for the future. The other thing that I am particularly interested in, and I mentioned this to Member LaPlante this morning, is the idea of enhancing community art around the county. I've been in downtown Glen Ellen a couple times over the last few months and always admire the Frida Kahlo mural that I believe was painted by students from COD right off Main Street. And every time I drive by that, I actually see someone walking by admiring it, or in fact taking a photo in front of it. And not only is that helping build a spirit of community that I think can really accentuate our value as DuPage County, to people outside of our community, but it also gets people downtown, patroning those stores, patroning those restaurants. And I think it's a really under-tapped asset that we have to really drive participation in our community events as well as our economy. So looking forward to working with this group, and any way I can be of assistance, I'm looking forward to helping out.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Member Hart. Appreciate you being here. Member Desart.
Thank you, Chairwoman LaPlante. I just want to say how honored I am to have been asked to be on this committee. And I welcome your leadership in this area. And it's really a necessary function of the county. I want to say that, the pandemic brought so many losses to so many. And I missed my daughter's high school graduation. We missed her prom. I missed the birth of my first grandchild. There were so many losses, but I have to tell you, one of the biggest losses that I experienced, and this wasn't DuPage, it was Chicago, but I had tickets to Dear Evan Hansen for July 2020. And I bought those tickets 2 years prior. And of course, Broadway and theater in Chicago shut down because of the pandemic and everywhere else. And I've heard so many other people say that what they missed most throughout the pandemic was the loss of the arts, concerts, musicals, theater productions, just the loss of the arts during the pandemic was the biggest loss for a lot of people. And I love that I'm on this committee, and I look forward to serving with you. Kind of going with what member Deacon Garcia said, I know that our schools here in DuPage County are excellent. So I would like to see more opportunity for, we've got so many great swing choirs and jazz bands through the schools. I'd like to see them pulled out of the schools and be in the public forum for a greater audience, if you will. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. Thank you for your leadership, Chairwoman LaPlante.
Thank you so much, Member Dessart, and I love those ideas. Those are wonderful. Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair LaPlante. Well, in the last 2 years, I was the only artist on the board. I'm a working photographer for others who do not know. I lost 2/3 of my business last year, and slowly it's coming back. And I think that with Lynn's leadership, we are going to elevate an already good county for the arts. Dawn, I love your idea about the school groups. It's been a while, but my daughter was part of Wheat Mooresville South show choir group that was nationally ranked and immensely entertaining to watch. So I would be thrilled to be able to see more of that. And the arts fairs and the concerts and all of those things that we can help draw to our county, I think is huge. So thank you for your leadership on this.
Of course, thank you, Vice Chair. You know what, I would also like to draw attention to Shafali, who is also going to be helping us with staff. And she just came off an amazing run on the Giving DuPage Days. Unbelievably successful. She knocked it out of the park. So I'd just like to give you props for that. And then also invite you to, do you have any comments about what you would like to see in terms of the arts in DuPage County?
Thank you so much for that. And I'd like to say we knocked it out of the park. Not me, we did it. It takes a whole county. So thank you. And I'm really glad to be asked to join this conversation. I can say ditto and on a lot of the great ideas. And I think we should also figure out getting feedback from the different arts organizations. I mean, obviously, Giving DuPage's role is connected to the nonprofit community in DuPage County, and there are a lot of arts organizations, and I know Debbie knows this and Barb knows this as funders. You know, there are a lot of arts organizations that had a really tough time this past year, and how can we continue to support them and support their infrastructure is a missing need, and I'm not sure if this committee is intended to focus on that, but that's the thing that comes to my mind. And I'm sure there's a lot of other great ideas that folks have around this table that are way more qualified than me. But my thoughts and my heart always goes out to the nonprofit community and those that are have arts in their mission.
Thank you so much, Shafali. That's a wonderful viewpoint. Moving to our panel, Greg.
Thank you, Chair LaPlante. I don't know how much more I can add to what has been said other than to offer that Choose DuPage is a little unique in that we, in the recent past, had the opportunity to really get engaged with a major artistic endeavor and opportunity in DuPage County. And it clearly indicated that there was a tremendous demand and a tremendous desire, if attendance was any indication, for arts and enhancing the arts community in DuPage County. As Member Rutledge pointed out, we're already a great community with many fantastic arts venues scattered throughout DuPage. Enhancing that awareness, having an enhanced sense of the meaning and the economic development opportunity that the arts brings to the region, quantifying that with an economic development impact report, and seeing the absolute upside that the arts has for DuPage is something that Choose DuPage readily accepts and looks forward to helping you and the entire team achieving.
Wonderful. We are so excited to partner with you. This is so thrilling. And Mr. Orbert Davis is with us. Hi, Orbert.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. This is an honor to be here. I parked the car in the driveway. I think I didn't run over anybody, so everything's fine. It's definitely an honor to be here. When Lynn asked me to do this, I said absolutely not, because I don't live in DuPage County. I live on the southwest side of Chicago. And but the fact that I have a radio show on WDCB, which is on College of DuPage, is important because I find that that's a connection to the entire world. You know, on Friday nights from 7 to 10, I get to share my passion and the music that I create and the music that my colleagues create with the entire world. And I use that as an example because the impact of the arts goes beyond our one community. I mean, we set an example for others to follow. And we also, there's no greater way to be an agent for change, for inclusion, for empathy than the arts. You know, I always say in music that we by the time people really understand how we are an agent for, let's say, diversity has already happened. And because it doesn't just hit our eyes, it hits our heart. And that's happened through music. So I you know, and plus I'll just do anything for Lynn. So
Thank you, Orbert.
thank you.
One time, Orbert says something. He says, first you have to open people's hearts, and music and the arts is the way to do that. Then you open their minds. And I just think that's the most beautiful approach. And that's going to be a core value to the work that we're going to do here.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, Orbert.
My pleasure.
Terry, Jairus is
Hello.
here.
You know, I represent the musicians throughout the whole northern part of Illinois. And I have lived in DuPage County now probably for 30, 40 years, Elmhurst, and now we live in Oak Brook. And, you know, everybody thinks of, you know, the arts going into Chicago, but there are plenty of artists that live out in this DuPage County area. And not just musicians, but people that work in the theater, people that work in the sculpture and painting, and many people that know the fine arts and even creative writing. And I think the ability to be able to highlight our people that come from DuPage County and give them an opportunity to perform here is a wonderful objective for our committee. And I will kind of mirror what Orbert said. When Lynn asks you to do something, it's hard to refuse.
Oh, I'm going to keep that in mind because there's a lot of laundry that needs to get folded at my house. So thank you very much, Terry. Beth, we would love to hear from you next.
Good afternoon, everyone. Really delighted to be here this afternoon. I know many of you on Zoom and in person, we've served on many committees through Barb and Debbie and Arts DuPage. Our organization underwent a product development committee several years ago. We talked about the arts, we talked about sports, we talked about different things that could be an economic driver for DuPage County. We then went into our strategic plan. And I know I was at the opening media day for Frida Kahlo, so we were selling that, promoting that internationally, which obviously came to a screeching halt. So we're delighted that that's happening. I think two of the biggest things that I would really like to talk about are the digital space is so competitive, right? And so if we're each individually trying to promote our own things, it's going to become very expensive. Whereas if we're really promoting the entirety of the arts that we have to offer, I think we're all going to be much more successful. And in fact, we're doing that with the Frida campaign. So I think, Member Hart, you talked about the Glen Ellen mural. That's been all over everything that I've been doing. And we have mayors that are talking to me about on the north side, what can we do? Hey, if we have murals everywhere, let's do a passport of murals. It doesn't have to be this complicated thing, right? Like that's something that's going to drive people to our area. So that's one. And then secondly, and I think Greg touched upon it, but I'm sorry, Greg Bedeloff, since we have two Gregs here. We have the opportunity to talk about tourism, and we have the opportunity to talk about what we're driving to a recovery effort. I can tell you that the arts historically drives about $150 in a spend per day. And if we can get people to spend the night, we have a really solid economic impact calculator that can really give some data to all of this, right? Because we all want to know what the ROI is. And so we can plug in those numbers of hotel stays and day visits. We can get how many full-time and part-time jobs were part of this. We can talk about how much food and beverage tax was generated because of the visitors here. So I know that's the analytics and sometimes not the very sexy part, but I think we need to really talk about that and drive that as one of our ROIs. So thank you.
I think that's great, and I'm going to disagree that that's not sexy. We're going to bring sexy back with dollars, okay? That's how we're going to look at this. So it's all about perspective.
That's right.
Jim McGuire from the County Fairgrounds.
Yeah, hello. I've been involved with the county fair for 24 years now, 17 years on the board, and this is my 7th year I'm entering into as the manager of the fairgrounds. I know most folks look at the fairgrounds as the fair, but I can tell you that there's a whole lot more activity happening at the fairgrounds that covers all types of areas, sports, shows, recreation, and a lot of economic drivers. We do anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 hotel stays that we've documented already on our grounds, and we kind of look at ourselves as the place where community gathers. And we're looking for more opportunity, more ways to improve our grounds, more ways to bring people out to the grounds to enjoy them. And we have the facilities, we have parking, we have ground space. We've done a lot of improvements to our buildings. We brought a Hollywood movie. We brought the Chicago PD TV show. We brought all kinds of different activities, and we continue to look for new opportunity for the community and for the people to come out and enjoy. So hopefully we can find new ways to bring folks together on our grounds.
That's right. And if you would like a tour, he is an amazing golf cart driver, and we'll cover all the area in a second, and it's super fun. Barb from the DuPage Foundation.
Well, thank you. I am delighted that we are meeting. I think it's really critical that County Board is supporting the arts, and this is an opportunity to really be very visible about that. And that's something we've been wanting for years. When we launched Arts DuPage, we kept saying we need the County Board to understand and to embrace it. I think we're all here because we all play a role. We all know that the arts are vital to DuPage County, and we're all here in different roles, and we're here because we each do something different that makes it a better place, you know, for people to work and live. And I just really look forward to that opportunity to bring each of our individual strengths to the arts and to ensure that they continue on. You're right, the arts have been decimated during the last year, but we have a great opportunity ahead of us. I mean, people aren't going to be wanting to go into the city like they used to. And I think a lot of people just don't realize how much we have out here in DuPage. I know through Arts DuPage, and I'll let Debbie talk about that. You know, we are really emphasizing all of the opportunities and all of the arts that are in DuPage County. We're a grant maker. My role is, in particular, is to give grants to local organizations. And we will continue to do that, but we're always looking for those specific opportunities that can really expand the arts. So I'm really excited to work together on this.
Thank you so much, Barb. We're happy to have you. And Debbie with Arts DuPage.
Oh, this is so exciting to be in a room full of people that really get it. And this is not always the case. Sometimes you really have to argue for the arts. They're so powerful. They're so important. And what we've seen over the last year, probably what I'm saying is just going to recap everything that everybody else said. But my heart bleeds for the actors, the artists, the arts organizations who suffered so badly. They're squeezing pennies right now. If they can just hang on a little bit longer, they're going to be able to kind of reshape themselves and come back, maybe not the same way they were before, but they're here. And when you think about it, their business is like any other business in the community. And they use goods and services, they hire people, they provide employment. So they're a key component of a successful community, just as businesses, but not only that, the arts are healing and the things that they bring to us, you know, and I'm working on actually a couple different public art committees. So this is something that's really in the forefront right now. Glen Ellen, of course, with the Frida Kahlo mural, but they're working on other projects. Naperville with their Century Walk, you know, they're bringing in, they right now have 51 installations, they're bringing in more. Elmhurst is working on this. So this is something that I think might be a good way to tie the community together through our public art. You know, somebody at one point said, oh yeah, along the train lines, let's get public art. So every town you stop in has, you know, a different public art piece or whatever. When you deal with artists, another thing that's so exciting is it's creative. You can't even imagine what they're going to come up with. I mean, you can't make that plan because they can surprise you. So the artists are like a key asset to the community. And so I'd like to see us through the tourism, through everything else, through our promotional efforts, make them the one thing that people will remember DuPage County for.
That's so well said, and it's a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about next. So thank you. We didn't even rehearse that. We'll call that improvisation, right, Orbert? Because this brings me to a new initiative that just is happening right now in Chicago. It's called Arts 77. So feel free to Google that after this meeting. It shows how important Chicago gets it. They see that they need to reinvest in the arts in order to recover from COVID and in order to drive economic development. They also know that if they don't do this, they are going to fall behind. Think about that. There's a reason they're doing this. And we have to remember, if we don't, we're also going to fall behind. Arts 77 is a citywide arts recovery and reopening plan for all of Chicago's 77 community areas. So it's named in honor of the different neighborhoods in Chicago. There's an initial investment of over $60 million into this initiative from the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, the Chicago Parks District, and other city agencies and private funding in order to support local artists and organizations. Arts 77 signals a new direction for Chicago's cultural policy in which the arts are embedded in initiatives and strategies across city government. This plan seeks to expand access and participation in the arts citywide, prioritize employment of creative workers through city programs and services, and deepen public sector investment in the creative sector through financial support and cultural policy. I mean, that's a thing of beauty right there. So this is, do you see how they're incorporating all of these different aspects that basically we all just brought up? So they're already doing it. So what I would like to suggest is we have to get our own plan together here in DuPage County, right? They've already done the research. They know that this is what's going to help recover from COVID and drive Cook County and Chicago forward. I just think that this is a really beautiful example. And I think we need to pay attention to what this tells us, okay? And just keep this in mind in terms of scope and scale, so that when we do talk about some really big plans that we have, just know that this is the kind of scope and scale that we are thinking in terms of, okay? So everyone really, the sky is the limit. Make sure that there's nothing that's too big to dream of. So what does this mean that we can do now, though? I think that we need something that we can all sort of sink our teeth into and start collaborating and start getting to know one another and start putting these ideas into action. So there's a couple of different forms this can take. The one idea that I'm proposing is a fall fine arts festival. So let's kick this committee off, hold it on the DuPage County Fairgrounds, and we can celebrate all the different forms of art right here in DuPage County. We're working out dates right now between Jim and the fairgrounds and all of the county events. So we will get that to you. We're looking at September or October, and we should have that soon. There's a couple of things that we would like to do and tie into this. The county has just set a really bold and beautiful and audacious goal of having 80% of all eligible citizens vaccinated by July 1st. And I'm sure you all know that 80% means that's herd immunity. So that's an enormous turning point. That's something to celebrate. So I think this could be also our first celebration. I'm going to call it post-COVID. We know we're not totally done, but if we're at herd immunity, that's a great place to start. I think there's something really poetically beautiful about holding it on the fairgrounds, which is the site of our very successful county-driven vaccination clinic. And to take it another step further, Nick and Cheryl had wonderful ideas that we could celebrate and raise funds for the care center of DuPage County. We're looking into that. They have been through so much, obviously, through this pandemic. They have suffered. And this could be just a wonderful way for all of us to come together as community to celebrate. And what better platform to use than the arts? So here's where we need to all start. I would like you guys to think of your resources, think of your ideas, think of who you can bring to the table, that we can make this happen. In my dream, it would be sort of a matrix where you would look and there would be, okay, there's a swing choir, because I would love to get the schools involved because they have been shut up and not been able to perform during this whole pandemic. So if we could bring some of these, the schools and have some of their performing groups in, that would be fantastic. We could have dance, we could have theater, we could have the main stage with music. We could have, let's see, visual art, obviously. Food trucks, make it a very family-friendly event. What other directions was I thinking about? So this is just a place to start. We kind of did this before in 2018. We had a concert on the fairgrounds. Orbit was there. A lot of my colleagues were there. And it's a wonderful place to come back together and celebrate herd immunity and to kick this committee off. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add to that or any ideas that they would like to put forward? Member Garcia.
Yeah, thanks, Chairwoman LaPlante. I know I went on a tour and it's very nice to meet you virtually, Jim McGuire. I missed you one the other day. But they have the horse stalls that are there that are emptied and all ready. And I'm just thinking if we were to bring artisans there, you know, to sell items that they have been, you know, trying to find places to sell them and have some kind of outdoor market for them to show what they have been creating all during this time. That's just something I thought that might be working well with this plan.
I love that idea. We did that. We used those horse stalls. We used them for candidates and getting out the vote, but that's exactly what they're there for. It's a perfect setup. And I think that would be a terrific idea. Definitely.
Okay,
definitely. Anyone else? I know you guys have ideas. Oh, good. Member Desart.
Mute, Don. You're done. Yep. Yeah. The lawnmower is still around, eh?
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to cut out the sound from outside. I was just thinking that one of our resources, per what I said earlier regarding the schools and bringing the schools out, is to partner with Darlene Rossetti, who is the superintendent of schools, and she could put out a blast to the schools for their best of the best, their best swing choir, their best. I mean, I've seen some professional performances in school auditoriums of theater productions. We could have mini theater productions throughout the fairgrounds, or their best jazz band, and kind of get the word out to the band and orchestra directors at all of the schools in the whole region, the whole county. But Darlene Rossetti would be a great resource for that.
I love it. That sounds wonderful. Okay. And I know that I'm just going to put you guys right out there, but I know Orbert and I know Terry have access to all the top musicians. So that's an easy place to tap in. I know that people are desperate to perform again in front of crowds. I am. There could be local musicians, but there could be the big headliners and the big draws. And I think that's pretty easy. That's something that's just a few phone calls.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, the main concert stage would be the big headline people.
Right.
But then other side concerts or other side stages could be for the to showcase the schools or the smaller troops.
Right. More local talent or students, that kind of a thing. And we can, you know, for visual art, maybe there's going to be something where we can tie in. I know, will Frida still be going on in the fall? Okay, so that's all done. So that, but maybe we can have, there's at least some type of an almost like post exhibit of at least merchandise, things like that, or any kind of a tie-in. Because that's just been such a huge cultural impact on the area, that entire exhibit. So I think that would be wonderful. If you can all draw on your networks, in terms of businesses to bring them together, yes, go ahead, Jim.
The past 3 years, we at the Fair Association, we've held a student art contest. And the idea was to bring the kids from all over the county to come and compete at the fairgrounds. We awarded $67,000 in scholarship over the past 3 years. And that is something that you could help us enhance what we're doing, and we could have that part of this. We've unfortunately not had the fair the past 2 years, so we haven't been able to continue that program. But I think this is an ideal spot where we could continue to grow that and bring more activity and bring more people. You want to bring the schools and get them involved. Bands and all that are great, but you could also get some of the artists. And it was anything that was hand drawn, painted, or sculptured.
I love that. I think that's a beautiful idea. Yes, Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. That gave me an idea. Back when we were talking about the flags being at half staff, and there were people that didn't want those flags at half staff, I actually approached one of the state reps that was, working on that issue. And my idea was to design a COVID flag that could commemorate the people that lost somebody. I thought that, we could put it out to the high schools, let them do that. And maybe that people could pay $1 to vote on the design of their choice, but I couldn't comprehend a vehicle for that. But this would work for that. If we could put it out ahead of time, have those flag displays there, and, $1, $5, however much people would want to vote with their wallets on something like that. And again, all that money going to the care center, and would leave us with a flag that we could display here to honor the COVID people.
I love that.
Victims of COVID. So
I love that. And then I love that it's not just symbolism, it is the reality of art as healing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that needs to be healed after this pandemic. And I think that something like this could be a step in that direction. So I love that idea too. That's wonderful. Does anyone else have any? Oh, Member Garcia.
I just had a quick question. I mean, and obviously, as soon as we know the dates, it's going to be easier, for myself anyways, to reach out to my artist friends and try to get them, to schedule something. So that would be great. But is there a permit required for alcohol on the property or something like that? I'm just trying to figure out how we can tie this together with hotel stays. So we can maybe get hotels involved to where, come here and then stay overnight and enjoy the night or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out how we could maybe tie that together and help the economy also with that. So I'm just not sure if a permit's required. So I don't know, Jim, if you can answer that.
Jim can answer that, and then Beth can talk about the hotel piece.
For an event this size, we would be getting a special event permit for an event such as this, and that's we've done that every year with the fair and some other events that we've had on the ground. So that's readily available. We can do that. That's not a problem. And there's just a couple things that we have to follow in order to do that, but that should not be an issue.
Wonderful.
Great.
And then Beth, would you like to speak to the hotel piece? The tourism piece?
Yes, absolutely. So I know everybody's got their own philosophy on who was hit the hardest. I love this idea. Our hotels, what they would do is offer and package, right? They'd have to put something together. They would put together what's called, a local negotiated rate. They'd have to put it in their reservation system. And they'd have to package it with something. So if we are charging a fee I guess we have to get into the details, right? If we're charging a fee to get into this facility, if there's food and beverage tickets or whatever the case may be, we could put that package together. Then you've got a tracking mechanism to show how many overnight stays were generated, how many, what was the economic impact of that. So we'd have to really get started on that because there is some time involved in getting those reservation systems up and running between all the different hotel chains. And I do want to also mention that a lot of our hotels are not, believe it or not owned by Hilton, not owned by Marriott, not owned by Hyatt. It's the local business owner. So we have to make sure that we give them ample time to really kind of craft something together because they are so short-handed right now. But I think this is an excellent idea of tracking mechanisms.
Okay, I like that. And Cheryl, do we have an idea on dates yet, or we're still narrowing that down?
I don't think the Care Center's having their fall festival September 18th, but otherwise, did the sheriff have a safety Saturday, Jim?
He does, but I have not got confirmation that that's
Okay.
gonna occur. That does occur on the fairgrounds. And that is the traditional date is the 18th, but we don't have confirmation whether they're moving forward or not.
That's the only thing I know of.
Okay, great. So we're still working on that. And I'm having, meetings just about every day on some form or another of this issue and this initiative. So we're getting there. We're chunking it out. But I sort of wanted to make sure that we had something to get our hands dirty with right off the bat, because otherwise this is all conceptual, right? And in terms of conceptual for a moment, we just had a wonderful meeting with Chairman Cronin. He is very, very supportive of everything that we're discussing. He loves the idea. So we're really getting the support that we need from the county and from our community partners. And I just really want to take a moment to say how amazing this all is and that this has come together. And these are, a lot of groups that have not necessarily worked in concert. That was an awful pun, but I'm sticking with it. In the past. So this is a wonderful new corner that we're turning. And I want to make sure that this isn't sort of just swept under the rug or taken for granted. I'm extremely grateful to everyone here who's willing to partner up with this, because I think it's going to be terrific. I am being very conscious of your time, because I know it's been a long day for all the county board members, and I know how busy every single person is here. So unless someone has any other burning ideas that they need to get out, last call, last call, last call. Oh,
I just want to say,
there you
with
go.
Arts, oh, sorry.
Go
For
ahead.
Arts DuPage, we do have Arts DuPage month in October. So something like this would be, if it works to have it in October, I think that just kind of goes along with what is already being worked on.
Okay, good to know.
And Debbie, through our artsdupage.org, she has a phenomenal list of artists, probably 135, 150 artists. And I have to say, when we first launched this initiative, we were told there were no artists in DuPage County. You had to go to the city, and that's just not true. So we do have a lot of that. I do have a question on why the funds would go to the Care Center as opposed to maybe supporting the arts. And
Sure. This was just an idea in terms of helping the least among us. So the Care Center's been hurt so badly through this pandemic, and the residents of the Care Center were basically in lockdown for a good 14 months. So since this is a county-sponsored event, we thought that we could use one vehicle to sort of help the other. And to just sort of a way of acknowledging that we're coming out of a pandemic. And, like I said, as using the arts as a way forward to healing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, that's fine. I just,
Okay,
I
great.
wasn't sure. My house phone was ringing when you were talking about it, and I
Oh, got
couldn't
it.
hear why.
Yes, what the connection was.
Yeah.
Because we would all be working on it, all the county staff and county board members. And this is something that we would really like to do to help them. Yes, Vice Chair Rutledge.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to add that, Lynn had approached me about a date for this and talked about September and October. And I've been doing outdoor portraits, particularly in the fall, for 30 years. And September is probably the most consistently good weather month of the year. Once you get into October, it gets a little iffy. So anecdotally, I would say you have a better chance in September of making sure you have a beautiful day than if we go into October. But if somebody wants to dig into weather data, I'd be happy to back that off. But I prefer, and if we're going to do it like the last weekend in September to kick off that arts in October month, I think that'd be a nice segue.
That's a good idea. Yes, Jim?
Yeah, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
That is a weekend, it is a good possibility that we can make something happen.
Okay.
So you can kick it off, and I do agree with you weather-wise. Early October, you're fine.
Yeah, right.
You get to the 15th and on, that's when you get into the.
Oh, I remember we had to pin a note to my youngest winter coat for Halloween that said, "I'm Nancy Drew," because it was snowing and she couldn't see her costume. So yes, I understand.
Another thing that fairs, there's a number of fairs around the country have found success in is plein air events. So an event like you're talking about could be very cool with plein air, and what they end up doing with the artwork that's created during your event. Like things are happening, people can walk around, talk to that artist while they're doing their thing, and people can learn and experience the piece of work actually being produced.
That's cool. I like
At the end of the event, they auction that off.
I love
And
that.
that raises funds for possibly what you're talking about, the care center. So
Right.
that creates an opportunity for some fundraising. It also creates opportunity for education, learning, and getting engaged with the artists who are there.
That's a great idea.
Plein air, Plenaire.
That's a beautiful idea. So I knew that there would be a ton of ideas, and I was very excited for this. That's why I just wanted to keep it sort of this round table. Everyone just pitch out everything that you've got. And that's how I envision this going forward. Like I said, creative collaboration. This is how we're going to do something different, right? It's going to take a lot of creativity and a lot of imagination, a lot of economic prowess, a lot of business-driven focus. And so that's why there's all of these experts here. That's why you've all been asked, because you're all experts in one of those areas. So together, I think we're unstoppable. I really do. Limitless potential here. So I think that we're off to a great start. We will keep you up to date via email before our next meeting. We're going to meet once a month for now. If we find that we need to meet bi-monthly, we'll let you know. But for right now, once a month, and I'm just going to be doing a lot of work with whomever will help behind the scenes, getting this going. And please feel free to reach out at any time via email or my cell phone. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Chair. A second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Teresa. Oh, sorry, we need a county board member to second it. Can we have there, Paula?
Second.
There we go, Dawn. Remember to start did that. Yes, I like that, Terry. Because she's union, she knows how this is all done.
Vice Chair Rutledge.
We're voting yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye.
Thank you.
It's been a long
God,
day.
I've said it so
I've done
many
this a few
times
myself.
today, I couldn't even bring it to my brain.
Member Selman, Member Desart,
Aye.
Member Garcia,
Aye.
Member Hart,
He had to leave.
and Chair LaPlante.
Aye. Thank you all so much. The motion passes. Our next meeting is June 8th, 2021. See you all then. Thank you so much for your time.
Very, very cool.